CashFlow Diary Podcast, episode 330.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the CashFlow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other CashFlow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the CashFlow Diary Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Massey, and I'm glad that you're here today because I know that there's something out there that you are having a challenge with because I get the emails. You ask me all the time, and you're wondering, Jay, how on earth do I build a team to help me make my dreams come true? I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and this is my idea, but I'm stuck in my job. I've got this team, or the team I've got isn't quite working out so well. And how do I make it all come together? Well, interestingly enough, today's guest is going to be able to help you not only find, not only keep, not only manage, but also has a unique way to go out there and make sure that you can pay people all across the globe to make things work. He is none other than Michael Brooks, founder of GoLance, and he's here to talk to you and me about how to make teams happen in a distributed way. What that simply means is across the globe, we can find very talented individuals. He helps us bring them together to be able to execute the mission and the vision of your team. And he's been doing it for a while. And more importantly, he's here to share his insight with you and I so that we can go out there and become bigger, better, and badder. Help me welcome Michael Brooks. Michael, you there?
Yes, Jay, thank you very much for that wonderful intro.
I'm glad that you are here because, my friend, I'm telling you, there's a number of people who perked up when I said team building, and now the pressure is on.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the pressure. I appreciate being on your program. So you and I have had a good chance to kind of talk and go over kind of the needs of your listener and like where they are. And as far as building a team, what's the purpose, right? How do you find a team at an amazing value?
No, not amazing value. Everybody wants them for free. I'm just joking. But but before we get too far into that, I've got to ask you the question that I tend to ask everybody the first time that they're here. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So I tend to look at today's entrepreneurs a lot like yesterday's superheroes, Spider-Man, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc. And I think entrepreneurs and superheroes have a ton of things in common because like a superhero, entrepreneurs, we can believe that we're out there saving the world with our product or service. Occasionally we get dressed up. Maybe we put on a cape and have a mask and, who knows? You get the idea. But very similarly to superheroes, entrepreneurs also have a beginning. I mean, before Spider-Man was climbing walls, he was, Peter Parker taking photos, just trying to get his education and finish school. He wasn't doing much, so to speak. So with that being said, what we want to know is before you were able to fund and sold companies in the digital payment space, before your 2 books, before GoLance, before all of the things that you are known for today, we want to know, who is Michael Brooks?
That's a great way to start the show. You mentioned superheroes, and I'll say, I don't feel like I'm a superhero, but anybody who, and maybe the reason why yesterday's superheroes is today's entrepreneurs, because in order to really be an entrepreneur, it's got to be more than just I'm trying to make money. Or like I want that new car. It comes down to purpose, right? What it comes down to struggle and purpose. Every superhero has had a struggle, right? Superman came from another planet. As a baby, his planet blew up. His parents died. That's a pretty rough beginning. What was that guy? The Punisher. He had a rough go at it.
Oh my God! Yes, you went there. Okay,
Right. I guess Peter Parker got bit by a spider. That's not that big of a deal, but he did have,
but his grandpa did die. I mean, come on.
That's true. That's true. So you've got the struggle, and the struggle changes people, and it's how it changes people. And there's the supervillains that their purpose is, it is all consuming and self-aggrandizing. It's all about their self. And then there's the superhero, where the superhero's in a good light. The superhero tends to live a better life. When I say better life, I mean a happier, more fuller, richer life, in spirit. And their purpose is usually usually to better things, just to make them better. So I guess it's funny. I was talking with my kid's babysitter today. I'm like, oh yeah, I've built this company, that company. I'm like, the problem is, it's like there's so many other ways to make money than to go to work. And I mean, as a digital payments professional, I've worked on some amazing projects that have done really well. And I'll be working with the CEO in some country or somewhere, or some working with a deal with some bank, and I'll get off the phone and then I'll hop on my next call or my next Skype is working on GoLance, helping somebody who's making $3.50 an hour in the Philippines make sure they get paid on time, make sure that, or work through some complex payment issue or working issue that they have. And the joy I get in knowing that, the feeling I get in treating someone as importantly or more important that's making $3.50 an hour versus someone who owns a bank, that and sharing my time equally to the extent that I can, that is very fulfilling. In fact, I just got back from the Philippines a couple of days ago. I was speaking at a conference out there, and I can tell you, we have a big presence, a big foothold in the Philippines, and every time I work with people there, I can see why. Amazing community, extremely bright people, hardworking, and just very community focused. I've never met and I've been a country. I've been to a lot of countries, places all over the world. I spent the last 6 months. I probably spent 2 months at home and 4 months traveling throughout the world, working with freelancers and employers globally. But of all the places I've gone, I can say the Philippines, they live with purpose every day, and their purpose is very communal. If somebody's got $1, they're giving 50 cents to their family, and that's just kind of how they are. They have, from one hand as many, this philosophy where everybody works together and helps each other. I would say they're the superhero. Who is Mike Brooks? I get to recognize who's the superhero, and I'd much rather be Robin than Batman. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, Batman gets shot at first, for sure.
Robin gets to go there and make sure Batman gets to come home alive. So.
Yes, totally understood, and I get it. I like it. Now, when it comes to GoLance being what it is today, take us through the journey of. Because for most people, it's an evolutionary process. For most superheroes, it's an evolutionary process. They don't wake up one day and go, cool, this is the outfit I'm going to wear and it's going to be perfect. They go through iterations before they arrive, so to speak. Well, how did we get to GoLance, and for those that need to know, what is GoLance?
So GoLance is a workforce platform. It's where employers can go on a platform, post a job, recruit, hire, manage, and pay people globally. And we focus on the digital reputation of our freelancer and agency group. So our freelancer base is really interested in doing great work and showing how great they are and performing really well for everybody they work with, because they know how important that review is going to be to the next set of eyeballs and the next possible employer. So it's like Yelp for human beings. Only we set it up, the process. It's free for employers to use. We charge the freelancer 10% of whatever they earn. And then we even offer like cashback incentives up to 5% to employers, depending on how they spend, whether they use a credit card or link a bank account. We try to focus on as many cost-saving tools for our employers and for our freelancers as possible. So let's just say you wanted to hire a marketing person, and you're looking to spend $30 an hour for someone for 10 hours a week. But then you also have lead gen people that you need to hire, and you're looking to spend $3 to $4 an hour for 40 hours a week. You would post jobs on our platform. You create a profile. You can create companies on our platform, as many companies as you want, manage how you pay for each employee for each company, set different payments, set different partnerships, different employee rules. So there's a tremendous amount of flexibility to allow entrepreneurs to do lots and lots of deals. As entrepreneurs, we like to have a lot of partnerships. We like to test a lot of relationships, especially today. You know, when my grandfather was coming up, it was different. The landscape was different. He would go find a piece of property, figure out how to either rent or buy the property, and then start a plumbing supply business. And he would get the plumbing in and send it out. And that's how he could live and make a living and earn money and buy more. But the landscape has changed. Now there's so much opportunity and so much competition coming in every direction. You have to be able to move flexible. So entrepreneurs like our platform because they can come on and create companies within our platform and then manage relationships separately and then keep their employee or their freelancer costs separate through the platform. So it's pretty exciting. People really tend to enjoy it.
Interesting. Well, you're bringing up something that I think a lot of us entrepreneurs might not be thinking about, and I know I think about it for one of my children. She's old enough to be in college and about to enter the workforce, etc., and all of these things. Having traveled again internationally myself, I've seen a lot of what you're referring to, and it causes me some concern when you can find individuals willing to work for the rates that you were quoting. And yet I know at the same time, it causes some other people trepidation, wondering $3 to $4 an hour. What kind of person am I? I mean, what kind of work is this? Do you know what I'm saying here?
I do. And there's the mindset of sickness versus value, which I bring up, right? So the concept where just because somebody is inexpensive doesn't mean they don't need to be managed properly. And that's where expectation and the sickness versus value. If you put an ad out on Craigslist, hire somebody for $36,000 a year, plus benefits, plus insurance, plus a seat at your office, plus a computer, and plus, and they're like, a young person that's really excited, maybe fresh out of college, and they're jumping in that seat, looking to build within your organization. That's awesome, but that's a huge cost, and you're going to treat that person differently than if you can post a job, someone with excellent English speaking skills and a slight accent, someone with real marketing experience, a college graduate, someone that's equal to or greater than the level of experience and education as the person you just hired off Craigslist that sits in your office. The fact that they're $3 an hour, you're going to think of them differently, and you're going to treat them differently. And my recommendation is understand the value and treat people based upon the value, not the cost.
Okay.
And when you look at the value that they can produce and you lay out a foundation for them based upon their value, not their cost, but their value, you can get a greater level of production out of that $3 an hour person than you can that $36,000 a year person. And that's the point of GoLance. And I can go back again. I think you asked a second ago, and I might have skipped over it. But how did we come to be?
Yes,
I built many years ago. I built a subscription billing platform for direct marketing, And it was direct marketers use this subscription billing platform. And 2007 to 2009, we were doing great. 2010 came around. Some new regulations came in the industry. Clients, market conditions changes, the economy changed, and our clients really started losing footing and losing ground. And that had a real adverse effect to our business. And we had a huge staff in Orange County. I was paying top-notch Newport Beach prices for people, and I was paying Newport Beach prices for the area. And I showed up in a suit every day, and we kind of had that same old, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I kind of formed my habits. And all of a sudden, life changed. And, Charles Darwin, I think, said it best. It's not the strongest that survive. And it's not necessarily the most intelligent. It's those most adaptable to change. So having to lay off as many people as we did hurt. I hated it. It was painful, and it wasn't personal. I loved everybody we worked with, and I wanted to keep everybody we worked with, even the people that stressed me out. But it was extremely difficult, especially programmers, programming resources, because the talent war for software developers is so heavy. And it's going on so rapidly. They're constantly getting recruited. The same guys I would pay to recruit people would go back to my guys and try and recruit them somewhere else. I mean, it was ugly. It was dirty.
Wow.
Yeah. So it hurt, and the cost kept going up. And so we didn't want to throw in the towel on the business. So we had to make some very tough moves. And at some point, when it was probably at my darkest, when I was that superhero going through the biggest struggle, who had a purpose of building the best system for selling, the best and most secure system for selling online and subscription billing. It was a great market, great space. I was struggling to no end, struggling personally, struggling with my family. And I just had a son, and then my second was on its way. And shortly, like right when I was at the lowest, we found out our son was diagnosed with autism.
I see.
So it was just one thing after another. He's doing great. He's high functioning. He's awesome. But I'm trying to illustrate the struggle that my wife and I were facing, and it just hurt from every direction. But this one last thing we had was our hope and our dreams, was our business.
Right.
We had hope and dreams for our kids. We love our kids, but we built, my wife and I built this business together, and the real tough thing was saying, okay, I've got somebody on the other side of the world. I found some of these other platforms. I found someone that we liked. They had all the technical capabilities, and we said, oh God, dude, do we really want to expose our code, expose our resources, expose everything? Right. This is very shaky. This is very scary. This could be really bad. This is a tough risk, and we did. And we rolled the dice. And what we found was, and that's the people that we hired, they stayed with us longer. They performed, through our hiring process, they performed as good or better than our in-house people, and with far less drama and less. And they were there all the time. They were there when we needed them. They were just as reliable. And so with that, taking it down to almost zero and being able to rebuild through this distributed model, through this remote workforce model, we were able to grow back again stronger, weather the storm, build up, and we're in the process of selling that subscription billing company. But we were able to rebuild, and then we were like, wow, okay, so we got a couple solid developers, and which we built that team even more. But what else can we tap? Geez, we need someone to manage all the marketing. I don't really have time for this. Great, we found a marketing person. And so, it's important to note that our platform doesn't just lob jobs across the end of the world. When people are working on our platform, when they're working for us or any of our clients, our system takes a screenshot of their computer 10 times an hour and reports on all the programs. And they log notes in their time tracker. So I can course correct on a dime. when you've got a staff of 4 or 5 developers and you go the wrong way for a day, that's a huge hit. That's a small fortune. So this allows us to course correct, constantly see what people are spending their time on, and allows us to get a real strong insight into where our money's being spent on what and how to prioritize quicker and move on a dime. And that level of flexibility, that level of transparency was not something I ever got from my in-house staff. And that's been baked into our culture. And that's my fault. I didn't make that part of our culture, right? When people came in, I didn't say, hey, you have to, this is how we're sharing information. I just set people up, made a report, put the program together, and set people in motion. So having these tools really forced me to have that discipline of watching what's going on, seeing where we're spending our time and resources, and moving people in the right direction. And that has been, that's probably why I fell in love with the business. And then after we took our subscription billing company, brought it to a level of profitability, and brought it to a level of stability to where we've achieved what every entrepreneur wants to at some point, being able to step away from the business and allow it to grow faster without my personal constant input. I said, what do I want to do for the next 40 years? Like if I'm going to jump into business, I'm 38 now. I was 36 when we started GoLance. What am I going to do? What do I want to just take this business, build it up and sell it? Or do I want to go get into something? I love the people I'm working with. I would never want to say goodbye to them in any capacity. And so what's next? And everyone I looked around at said, geez, this whole workforce platform, this is really right up our alley. I think we ought to jump into this. And that's taken me all over the world, and I absolutely love it.
Have you noticed yet? I mean, how many episodes have you listened to? How many times have you heard? How many different people from different walks of life have said something similar? I just got up and I started. They just made it happen. They pivoted. Business changed. It didn't matter. Ups and downs. It's not unique. What does that mean? What you are going through is not unique. You're not the only one to have experienced a failure event. You're not the only one to experience the ups and downs. And yes, that can all be inside the same day. It just doesn't matter. Keep going. Pick it up. Dust it off. Refine it. Make it yours. But for God's sake, keep pushing forward. It happens to all of us, and it's that difficulty, that refining fire that's required. If you want to learn more about more refining fire, and more importantly, my refining fire, feel free to read chapter 1 of my book. I'll give it to you right now. It's CashFlowDiary.com/free book. Again, CashFlowDiary.com/free book. Go there, name and email. We'll get you a free copy. What's really interesting is that you might redefine your own definition of this is difficult. Again, go to CashFlowDiary.com/free book. Now, let's get back to Michael. Well, and that's what I find interesting. It's like you are out making, had an orchard and you ended up with oranges, and then you had orange juice, and you're like, hey, this juice, this is the thing. This is the thing that makes awesome sense, and more importantly can become something where I can help more and more individuals, and I like that because so many great ideas happen that way. It was a solution to a problem which you were having, and you made some difficult decisions, but you also made a choice to continue, because oftentimes the path to where we ultimately wanted to end up is usually up and, well, down, and then back up again, and then down, and then, but in order to see those ups, you have to keep making that decision. So that leads me to the question, when, you're in those down moments, what gets you through?
Purpose. You've got to focus back on your purpose. And that's, without question, why are you doing it? What's important to you? And then start asking asking yourself those questions. Why is this important to me? What am I committed to? What's the outcome going to look like? And what am I willing to risk to have this happen? And if you're not willing to look at yourself in the mirror and ask those questions, then that makes it tough to be a superhero.
You got that.
And right into the Batman. I mean, you've got to know why you're doing something, and maybe it's to provide the best family for your kids. Maybe it's just because you don't fit into a system that says, okay, show up here at 9, leave at 5, and here's your lunch break, and this is mandatory to break. I mean, if you don't fit into that system, a lot of people don't. Maybe it's just because you want to create something and put your name on something that is good and that makes you feel good, or maybe you just want to provide a great life for your family. Whatever it is, there has to be a sense of purpose that will drive people more than money, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're showing up to a job every day. Autonomy, purpose, and mastery, these are things that I think every human being innately wants to strive for.
Yeah, I get that 100%. So speaking of creating something, in the process of creation, we often realize how many skill sets we don't have. And so which leads me to ask, if I, as an employer or someone going to GoLance, looking to use the services, what are some of the types of freelancers that you guys deal with or that we could actually find there? Like, what type of work could we get done?
So just touching on that point real quick, what a great way to look in the mirror is to find out what you don't have. And we all know that one person, or probably more than one people, that knows everything, but accomplishes so little, right?
We'll leave names out for now, but yes.
but I'm sure somebody comes to mind, right? So look, I know knowing who you are and what you're capable of is the first step towards success. And as far as what you can find on GoLance is, we have attorneys on there, we have we have the CPAs, we have developers, but it doesn't even matter if you post a job, we're going to find somebody for it, even if we have to go to other platforms, where we offer free recruiting to employers. But it's about finding out what you don't know and how best you can find somebody to accomplish for you on your behalf at a great value. So, like, for instance, you mentioned you have a lot of real estate professionals on your as you receive info from.
Mm-hmm.
So things like creating a newsletter is paramount for real estate professionals. They're all about that personal branding, right?
Right.
They're like I've had real estate professionals in my family. Many in my family, and they always had a business card with their picture on it. Whenever they had their sign up, it had their picture and their name, and they're trying to promote their name and their self in a finite area, right, in a geographical region. My grandmother was very well known in Long Beach, where I grew up, Long Beach, California. She always wore really ridiculously large hats, and so people knew her as the Hat Lady, and that's kind of how she got famous.
I love it.
And hats, but today it's more than just business cards and signs. But let's say you want to create a newsletter, but you don't necessarily have time to write a think piece about the market. You can tap fantastic writers that will offer great content that will promote your services and your properties. And you can tap GoLance for that. And you can tap and find immense value for somebody to manage that. Same with just building your digital reputation online as much as you do offline. So Pinterest and Pinterest, all the different social medias, constantly building your list of people in your geographical region, both on email and on social. That's a process that you cultivate. That's harvesting. That's harvesting the neighborhoods that you would work in. And I mean, and then telling your story and building your personal brand. And that becomes an asset too. So like, hey, it's not just like, hey, if you list your house with me, I'm going to go put an ad in the paper for that house. It's if you list your house with me, here's the number of people that I am connected with on Facebook. Here's the number of people that go to, like, here's my Alexa ranking for this geographical region. If you list with me, here's how I'm going to get your property out to the most people as quickly as possible, and vice versa when it comes to buying. And I mean, isn't that why somebody hires a real estate agent, right? It's to deal with getting, a big portion of it is getting someone's house out there.
Right.
And the way the masters of real estate have figured out is they say, yes, list with me and leverage my brand, the trust of my brand, to move your house from you to somebody else. And a lot of things need to happen in order to build that persona and that brand.
Got it. I get that. Okay. So, and I guess I know I've used many other services. So, for example, Upwork, I've used Elance. Well, I guess I can't use Elance anymore, but anyway, Upwork. And I've had reasonable, success, doing a lot of what you're talking about. And, but figuring it out and going through some many bumps and bruises. I mean, hiring wrong for sure. Talk to us a little bit about how you might be able to simplify that process for the first time person, doing so.
So back when Upwork was Odesk.
Yeah, exactly.
With them all the time. And we found problems that we had. And that's why, and I'm not talking bad about them. They're my industry counterpart. They've done a lot of good for this space. But I think we're better. And I think we're better for entrepreneurs. I think they've done a fantastic job of empowering solopreneurs. I think they've done a fantastic job of empowering entrepreneurs. And, one thing we massively focus on is digital reputation. Because it comes down, when you're hiring somebody, it comes down to quality. So for starters, if you post a job, we're going to go out there and help you recruit. That's part of our promise at this point. But we took a transparency approach. We said, okay, let's look at all of our competitors. And they all kind of have, Freelancer has their whole gamify thing where you get all these badges. Upwork has people leaving feedback and you can take tests. But everything is on their platform. Everything's touching their system, and it's a strong control system. We allow our freelancers to pull their digital reputations from various sources and promote it in one place. And we encourage freelancers and agencies on our platform to constantly write articles, to post, to build their portfolios, to show how they are experts in their arena. And quality of work is critical. It is critical, or you're going to jump on, find somebody, they're not going to do a great job, and then you're going to move on. And that's where a great value versus the right person kind of comes into play.
Got it. Okay. That makes a ton of sense. So let me ask this. What would you say? Because I know there's a number of people listening today who haven't done this before. They've thought about it. They were like, oh, I could just hire someone, do this, and they can do this for me, and they can do that, and et cetera. But what would you say if I asked you to come up with like a top 5 things employers should know before they go out to try this the first time? What would you say those things are?
Well, I would first say pick something that you wanted to have done or that you need to have done. Identify that first, right? Let's say you've got a social media, you got Facebook, you don't find that much great in it, but you know that, hey, if you're living in Los Angeles and you've got 100,000 people that you're linked to on Facebook within Los Angeles, that's going to be a great tool for acquiring listings, right? You're going to start putting down your Twitter and your Pinterest and all the views and your stats to help attract listings. So, and that's just one method, but let's say that was something that you were interested in. What I would do is write clearly exactly get my thoughts out on as clear as possible what I want to have happen. And then I would try to put a number as to what it would take to get there and what it would take to maintain. Then I'd post a job and start interviewing. and just go through that simple process of talking with people, setting up interviews, finding out what their experience is, how they've helped people in the past, read through their bios, look at these type of things, and test somebody at a price that you wouldn't think is possible, like the $3 to $5 an hour range.
I see.
And that's where I would start if I was out trying to market. And then I would look at the results. I wanted this to happen. This is what I had an idea of. This is how I clearly explained. And this is ultimately what happened. Is it the result I was expecting? Was I clear on my expectations? I mean, it's managing people, right? There's only so much we can do. Some people will come in and say, there's companies that say, hey, we'll just do all this for you. There's expectations in management quality there also. But is there going to be the value for you to have your own person do this that you can oversee and you can manage and you can work with directly? If there is, give it the Pepsi challenge.
I like it. Totally like it.
You'd be shocked and amazed at what you can accomplish with a highly effective team.
Right. Indeed.
Even at a low cost.
Indeed. Agreed 100%. So, I know that there's a number of people who have been listening this far, and they're probably wanting to get more information, understand more about what you guys offer, what you do. What's going to be the best way for them to follow up with you and track you down, Michael?
Go to GoLance.com, GOLANCE.com, like freelance, only GoLance. Fill out a profile. And if they're very bold, go in and create a company on GoLance and reach out. There's a little question mark on the bottom of the page. It's direct contact to our team, and let's get to know each other. See what GoLance can do. See if we can find you. If we can help you with that challenge. If we can find you the right people to help move your business along, to help implement your ideas, to help come up with ideas, to help build your persona or whatever it's going to be. We want to be there for you. When you're like, geez, I need this to happen, we want to be there to make it happen, whatever that is.
Love it, 100%. So as we wind down here, I've got a question for you, because I know that there's a person who's out there that, let's pretend for a second that they're standing in front of the superhero outfit store. They think, hey, I want to do this entrepreneur thing. And they're thinking about it. They're actually considering what color tights and do they need a cape and all this other stuff. But yet at the same time, Michael, in the back of their head, they have this voice. And I know the voice, you know it too, because you've done battle with it. You have slayed that voice, and you have a way of making that voice whip into shape, because occasionally it comes up when people are saying, or when we say to ourselves, ooh, I want to go do this great thing, or I want to be this over here. And for some people, they're even related to that voice, and they have to deal with it, even though they know they still want to be this entrepreneur. So my question to you is, if you knew beyond all doubt that the individual that you were talking to right now would actually follow through on what you would suggest in the next 24 to 48 hours, what would you suggest that they do?
So that voice that you're talking about, I've always called that voice the conversation, right? and that's and you mentioned that sometimes it's their own family, right? They're in a relationship with that. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that conversation that is in my head, or has been in my head, that I've had to overcome, was from the closest people in my life growing up.
I see.
Brothers, sisters. And it's not like people are mean or your family wants to keep you down. It's just they have their own conversations coming out, and they're trying to pass their conversations on to you. So identifying that is the hardest, right? Identifying that, taking that voice out of your head, looking at it, studying it, identifying where it comes from. That's step one. And then saying, do I want to go with that conversation? Do I want to be in that conversation? Or do I want to make my own conversation? If I could, what conversation would I make? And follow that conversation. But let's just say somebody wants to start off and be an entrepreneur, and they're unsure where they want to go. They're unsure what they want to do. I would first look at what value you can provide, or what value you want to provide, and then go make yourself an expert in that process. So let's say you want to be an internet marketer, right? Okay. How would I know you're an internet marketer? Jay, I know you're an internet marketer. When I look at you up, your persona's out there. You have an audience. You have a podcast. You're out there talking with people. You become an expert on the subject, right? But if somebody else is out there and wants to do internet marketing for other people, they've got to come up with a price point in their mind, and then they have to validate that price point. And if you're going to be an internet marketer, you have to have a digital reputation. So I would focus on that first. I would focus on doing things like reaching out to people and joining podcasts, developing opinion, consuming information, and posting it. And of course, I'd say, post your profile on GoLance as an internet marketer, and copy all and bring in everything that supports your claim to your value. But I wouldn't just, in my honesty, I wouldn't just say do it on GoLance. I'd say do it everywhere. Let the great referral program that GoLance, the lifetime referral program at GoLance, convince you to bring all your clients to us. But have your profile out there everywhere. Get jobs wherever you can. Go out and promote yourself and build your persona. If you search for me, you're going to see me in multiple places.
Right.
If I'm out there trying to be an expert, or trying to promote my expertise in this field. So I'm out there screaming from the top of my lungs all the time. And it's not much of a conversation. And I'll tell you this thing. This is amazing, though. This is the funnest part. When the people that help put that original conversation in your head, when they start seeing you, your persona, their conversation about you will change. And this is even better. Oftentimes, their conversation about themselves will change. And you get to be the superhero that shows them how they can step out of their conversation and get into their life.
Yes. So well said. There are a number of people now in my life who are having different conversations with themselves for sure. And, calling me, which is completely different than where we were when we first started. So I definitely appreciate, though, Michael, you taking the time to share your expertise, giving us your wisdom as well as insight on how we might be able to take our organizations and ideas to those next levels by building distributed workforces and teams and making them come to fruition, and just being a good guy and sharing your information here with us at the Cashflow Diary.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on the program. This has been a great talk, and I look forward to our next talk. It's going to be great to see where we go from here. Indeed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for you to move at the speed of instruction. What does that mean today? That means GoLance.com. And then go hire somebody, i.e. post a job, make it happen, because you have had that idea stuck in your head too long and you've made too many excuses about the things that you said you were going to do and haven't gotten done. Now you have less of a reason to delay. So go make it happen. When? Today. Because you know and I know that the only time that we have is now o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.